All right, we're there. All right. I'm Ed Parcaut, host of Real Estate Jerky, the radio show, and the lives. And today we have Chad Condit. He's running for District 22, and let's find out about him and why he is running. Not too much pressure there, is there?
No, you set me up good, Ed.
All right, I try. I've been doing this a little bit.
Yeah.
You're lucky because you're the first Democrat who's come in. And I don't mean that wrong. I believe Republican and Democrat, I don't care where you are, we're all pretty much all in the middle. You just have those fringes out there that are a little crazy, and we all want the same thing.
I'm an American first.
Right, exactly.
There's not one morning I woke up and said, honey, I'm a Democrat today, or I think that I'm going to be a Democrat today. I'm an American. I was American when I joined the service. I've always had that belief that you put the country and the folks you want to serve before any kind of party interest. I grew up in Ceres.
Chad, before you keep going, can you move that mic a little bit more in front of your mouth?
Is that good?
Yeah, that's perfect right there.
I got to get used to this radio business.
Yeah, well, it's that you're good. Just love, as I'd say, it's like a good woman. Just give them good love.
Oh, Ed, you're gonna get me in trouble. I grew up in Ceres. Went to Ceres High School. Married my high school sweetheart. We still live in Ceres today. We have 3 kids. Back in '91, I joined the service right after I got married, pretty much. And
which is the best service? The Navy.
The Navy. It is it's one of the best for sure. And the Marines will tell you different, but
they are a department of the Navy. They can't tell us anything.
No,
else.
I know. They say they're the best department. My Uncle Burl, who's a Marine, tells me that all the time.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Ceres, served in the military, the best service, the Navy. I've worked in the state Senate as a legislative aide. I worked as a chief of staff in the state assembly, worked for a governor as the assistant in the Central Valley, working with education issues, agricultural issues. So I have government experience. I've been self-employed as a public relations consultant for a number of years. So I have both business and government experience, as well as growing up here. And this is my home district. I feel like my middle of the road positions are perfect for the district. I want to, like I said, put the residents and the issue first, and not really focus on the partisanship. I know that's hard today. People have become so divisive and want to run to their corner, but we really, if we're going to govern in an effective way, we're going to have to have people that put the state and the people first, and not the partisan BS that goes on every day, every week in Washington and Sacramento. So that's where I'm coming from. I think my resume and my knowledge of the district fits District 22 perfectly. It's an open seat, no incumbent. And I feel good about the campaign.
Good. Now, I want to go back to what we were talking about. I think vets are the perfect people for politics because one thing we do, and this is not negative, we take the emotional out when we're talking to people, meaning that we can actually have a conversation, look at logically, look at certain things. And I had a good judge tell me, if you are guilty of a crime, you do not want any veterans on your jury. But if you're innocent, you want all veterans on your jury because they will look at it very logically and the way it should be. And that's the way politics should be. And veterans are really good for that because we can talk about different things, not agree, and then still go out and have a beer. So
yeah, well, the beer part's good. And let me just say, and a funny thing, you say the veteran perfect for politics is, one of the rules are they don't let you put veteran as part of your ballot designation.
Oh, really?
That is one of the words that are not permitted. And the history of that, I believe, is politicians don't want to run against veterans. So they don't let you put veteran. And we ought to fix that, because if you served honorably or you were honorably discharged, you should be able to put veteran. People can put businessman, as I did, or you can put a sheriff sergeant, or you can put a school teacher, but you can't put veterans. So we ought to fix that. And I think that would help veterans. And we need more veterans involved in government, period, at all, local, state, federal.
Yeah. I think it was when we came back from World War II, we had more veterans in Congress and this, all that than any other time. And now we have some of the least amount of veterans in politics, and we need to change that.
That's exactly right. And hopefully they come from all parts of life, all parties. And we need veterans involved because they were willing to serve.
Yeah. I mean, again, like you keep saying, parties involved. We need a real party system, and we need to go back to that. Not just, a lot of people complain about California as a one party system is what they think.
I think we need to get it back to what's best for the people, period.
It used to not be that way. Back in the 80s and back in the day, the old days, it was a purple. This is a purple. We had Ronald Reagan was our governor at one time. We've had Republican leadership. We've had Democratic leadership, and we need common sense leadership. And that's where I'm coming from. I'm more about it being a Democrat because my grandma was a Democrat. My dad was a Democrat. But I'm 54 years old. I've been registered to vote for 36 years. I've spent 18 years as a Democrat registered, and I've spent 18 years as an independent. I have a real independent nature, and I think you ought to represent what's good for the district, good for the state.
Okay. How do you stand on water? Because I got your flyer yesterday in the mail, and unfortunately I left it at home to see and it had everything that you were standing for against the other person. And I think water is one of our biggest issues in our area.
It is. And the Democrats have fumbled the ball. They've had supermajority, had the governor. We needed to move on water storage, specifically water storage. And we shouldn't put all the power into the Water Resource Board. The board needs to be reformed. We shouldn't be relying on unelected bureaucrats to kind of dictate where we go on water. And it feels like that we do put the environmental so-called fish over people position first in California, and we can't do that. Not only the farmers, but the communities and the residents need a reliable, clean source of water. And our basin is going to dry up. Our underwater basin is going to dry up, and we're not going to be able to sustain it. And we lost a congressional seat in the last census. We're going to continue to lose seats and lose people to other states if we don't get our act in order on crime, on water, on affordability in California. We can't just live off, we're the Golden State and we can charge people whatever we want. We don't have to worry about water. We can keep shipping it to LA or San Francisco and give them all the power. The Central Valley has to be taken care of. We're an important part of the state, and the folks in Sacramento need to remember that, and I'm going to remind them of that.
Wow. I'm sorry. And please don't take this wrong. What you're saying is not what I've heard before from a lot of Democrats who are running. So
I'm not like
I know. I'm just saying it's refreshing to hear what you're saying. That's why I think it's important to have. I don't care where you come. I mean, your background from your family, and from now that you're in the service, it's all about serving Americans, right? And that's what it's about. And that's
how I got on your show, right?
Nope.
I had one of your viewers, a young lady named Marilyn, call me and say, you got to go on this Ed Jerky guy's show.
It's Real Estate Jerky, by the way, not Ed Jerky.
No, I know, but she said something like that. Real Estate Jerky. I didn't mean to. That's a joke. But she called you, so you have a following.
Yeah, and we actually put it out there back in January and February and March. Hey, we want everybody who's running for this, whether it's local or national, we want you on the show so people know who's running, because it's important to get to know who's running now. We can't just hide from this anymore. And I always say, vote policies and not personalities. It's the most important thing. But
vote for the person that's best. And I'm getting a lot of pushback. People say, well, you're a Democrat, and they're mad at Biden, they're mad at Gavin, and so they want to know my positions. And I tell everybody the same thing. Whether I go talk to the unions, talk to the farmers, talk to the chamber, talk to the Democrat, I say the same things. And that is leadership. We don't want people to carve their special message out for this group or that group and say different things. We want somebody that's going to say the same thing and do what they say. And that's what I plan on doing.
Right. And that's important. If you're going to say you're going to do something, do it. Right. Do what you say. No, or do it. What's that saying? Do what you say, or say what you'll do. Do it. And that's how it should be. We're just so used to politicians lying and not doing what they say they're going to do.
Well, you're not going to get that from me. I'm going to try to do everything I say. And if I can't, I'm going to tell you. And I'm always going to be in contact with the voters back home and know what they're thinking. And I want to know where they're coming from. Because that's the only way you can really go up and represent someone, is what they're feeling in their daily lives.
Right.
So that's what I believe in, and that's about public service. Like I said, I grew up watching my dad be in public service. So if he would have been a shoe salesman, I probably would have wanted to be a shoe salesman. He believed in public service. That was passed on to me. My grandpa was a Baptist minister, and that's a sense of public service too, and in just a little bit different way.
Right.
So I grew up with that, and never really put much stock in being a Democrat or a Republican, but just representing the people and trying to do right by them.
Gotcha. All right. So we talked about water. That's very important for us. What else are you, I don't want to put words. So what do you want to talk about? I know what I want to ask you, but is there anything else you want to add out there before we get moving?
Well, the premise of my campaign is constituent service, public service, but it's also, we need to make California more affordable. So how do we do that? I'm for suspending the gas tax. I'm for affordability in safe neighborhoods must be at the center of the California dream. So we have to fund our police. We should repeal or rescind Prop 57. We can't let violent criminals out early.
Right.
People that do crime need to pay the time. And we have to work on making it affordable and bringing jobs to the Central Valley. I've want to do a manufacturing zone in the Central Valley where you give businesses a tax break to locate in the Central Valley, and we make our goods here, whatever it is, shoes, whatever the product is. We need to clear space in the Central Valley and try to create good jobs here, and that would help with the supply chain problem. And we buy our goods from other countries. Why don't we make them here? And politicians been talking like that for forever, but they don't get off the dime, just the same as water storage. So those are some of the things that I'm interested in. I want to be on the Veterans Committee if I'm fortunate enough to win. I want to be on the Agriculture Committee. So I think I can be helpful on both those committees, and in general, just be an advocate for the Central Valley.
Right. I want to go back to affordability. You're talking about because one of the things that we're having issues with is homes, because it takes 25 years to build a housing tract in California. Yeah. Well, you talk to any public works person and they have a bridge they got to replace. It takes a bridge that's already there. It takes them 20 to 25 years to rebuild it, which is ridiculous. It's already there. Why not just redo it and fix it? There's certain things in the way here for people to build homes, and that's what the problem is with California. And our affordability problem is not going to go away because values keep going up because there's less houses, and there's less houses being built because it takes so long to build them. Texas, Louisiana, 6 months to a year, Las Vegas, kind of the same thing. We need some program like that, like they did in the 40s, 50s, and 60s about getting people back to work and all this kind of stuff. We need the same thing. We need a whole program to build all these houses. And that's what we need to make affordability. And that's the thing. In order to be more affordable in our area, we need more houses to be built. That's the only way.
What would you say would be the number one problem why we're not building houses?
Because it takes so long to get through. Yeah,
but what is that? What is that? Is it CEQA? Is it what is?
I don't know the exact names of everything. I just know that when you go and you talk to every builder who's building it, it's like I've been working on this for 20 years. So what we need is a fast program put together, and this is something we can work on that says, all right, this is how long it normally why does other states allow it to be done this fast? Let's do that process, right? I'm sure there's some endangered little bug or something in our area that they have to make sure we're not going to kill, but there's just so many things that we get in our own way. We have to have sprinklers in our houses now. We have to have solar on our houses, right? So the problem with solar on the house, it's not included in the value of the price of the house. That's the person has to buy it separately or lease it afterwards. Right. And if you're with MID or TID, you don't get the benefit of that extra payback to them. So it makes no sense. The fire, sprinklers in the house, that's great. Your house doesn't burn down, but it's really not that neat. There's so much cost we've added to these houses that's really not helping.
Well, too much regulation, taxes way too high. When I worked in 1999 for Governor Davis, he was pushing UC Merced at the time to build. They almost stopped UC Merced over the fairy shrimp on an environmental issue. One of our great or so-called great laws was CEQA, California Environmental Act. Who passed that? It was Ronald Reagan as governor. It's been used to stymie projects. So you're right. We need to figure out a way to make it easier and faster to build houses. At the same time, you got to You got to bring the stakeholders. The state doesn't want to be seen as big brother and making Modesto or Turlock or Patterson build houses, but we need affordable houses. So how do you get the locals, the state, the developers all in the same room and push this plan to have the affordable houses happen? You got to get everybody in the room. You can't be off in your right side corner or your left side corner. You need people that are going to govern from the middle. And I think I fit that. But you're right on. We got to make it easier to build, whether it be housing, projects, manufacturing, places like I'm talking about. We have to make it easier to build in California, or you're not going to sustain your state. People are just going to leave. You're going to have a state that is only rich people or only poor people, and all the middle's going to leave. That's where we're headed unless we fix our path, unless we get straight. And I don't think it's an answer that says, oh, it's the Republicans or it's the Democrats. No, it's about common sense governing. And that's where I'm coming from. And folks should listen to the Central Valley people, because we got a good read on this. We need middle of the road, common sense approaches.
I mean, because if you look at Modesto, right? I know we used to build 1,000 homes a year.
Yeah.
We're building 100.
I think Ceres did 17 or something. I mean, it's we're stymied. Right. And I think it's what you say. They throw roadblocks, make it so hard nobody wants to build. They'll just outlast you.
Right. Well, and and it has to do with the politicians who are been in power for years and years and years are the ones who are controlling what we're doing. That's why we need more newer people in the political realm right now. We need to make some changes. Hey, we're tired of the same old. We need to make some changes. And I'm good for, I don't care if it's, again, I keep saying this because people think I'm focusing on one thing. I'm not. I want the right people in. That can be a Democrat. It can be a Republican. I can't say independent because they never really win.
I've been an independent and I lost as an independent. I can testify to that.
Yeah. That's where we're at. But it's so important to be there for the people. And I think a lot of politicians forgot about the people.
Hope they have. Yeah. They totally have. They're, and that's part of this job. And when I vote for someone in the state assembly or for Congress, I want someone that is going to stand up to the special interests, someone that's going to stand up to their own party. That's how you got to have a fighter. You got to have someone that's going to be tough enough to stand up and say no to when the Republicans come to you and say they want you to do this, or the Democrats come to you and say, you got to vote with your party. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do right by the people. And I agree with you, Ed. We need people like that. And I think voters and residents have lost confidence in people in politics, and they've been doing that for a long time. And frankly, we deserve it because we've let them down. Right. We've let them down. We put our priority in our party instead of putting our priority into serving them. All
right. So we talk water, housing affordability.
You're going through your list.
I'm just trying to remember, make sure I can hit everything. Where are you with? All right. So my biggest problem we have right now is everybody's pushing for electric vehicles. It's a great idea, but nobody looks at the fact that our grid in California, you're going to have two choices. You either charge your electric car or you run your air conditioning during the summer. You have two choices. You're not going to get both because our grid is so messed up. How do we fix that? And the other issue is a lot of people are pushing that electric vehicles, but nobody looks at how damaging the batteries are to the environment. One, after we can't use them anymore, but actually to get the raw earth minerals to make the batteries from the countries that have them, they're destroying the earth. And everybody's it's so much better than fossil fuels. Well, we're not really fully there with that. That's just my take on it. Where are you with the things I just talked about?
Well, we're not there yet. Yeah. We're not ready for it. And I wouldn't want to use batteries that we have to buy from foreign countries. We have to be self-reliant on everything, whether it be food, water, energy, all the things that are necessary for us to survive as a civilized country. We have to be self-reliant. That's why we need to make things here. So I think the transition to green is slow. We need to be self-reliant on our oil production. That's a must.
So you think we should go back to producing oil the way we were doing it before? Is what you're saying?
I don't know about before, but we need to produce oil. Right. We need to be self-reliant. So in California needs to, I don't know about before, but we need to be self-reliant and produce oil here. I think that's a major problem when we don't produce the goods we need here, whether it be food or anything else. The electricity, we're not moving towards electrical tractors it's going to be a slow process. And if you're right, and we got to go buy batteries from China or anywhere else, that's just a bad recipe. It's just, we should be reliant. And if we're going to move there, we have to be able to make it here ourselves. That's just where I think we need to head into the future. Everything has to be made here. Certainly, we don't want to ignore the world, and we want to be part of the world and all that. But let's be self-reliant. And the pandemic that we just went through has taught us that more than anything, I think, is we have to look inwardly sometimes and be able to produce what we need here to be self-reliant.
Right. It's okay to think America first. It's not a bad thing to think about us first. We're not thinking of other countries. We just want to make sure we're taken care of first.
Well, yeah, our people they should get the food here. They should buy their batteries here. We should be able to make our goods here so that everything comes from here. Certainly, we want to be part of the world, and we don't want to isolate, but we have to look inwardly as well.
And when I was talking the battery stuff, it's the rare earth minerals that you need that is really hard to get. And
where do you get those? You get
China, Russia.
I don't want to get involved where I have to rely on China and Russia for.
It's the same thing right now with oil. We're trying to buy, give them $650 million. We could do our own oil, and I've talked to a bunch of people about this, and they're like, "Do you think the president really has control of that?" No, but it's the rhetoric. It's what oil company is going to go out and create new leases and go through all that process and spend all that money to not know if you're going to be able to turn around.
Same
and get that
thing
money
with
back.
water.
Yeah.
Same thing with water. When the farmers and the communities don't know that they have reliable water, they're hesitant. Same with with what you just said about oil. We have to produce it here, and we have to make it regulated, clean, and so forth.
I mean, because I totally agree with long-term going to clean in, the whole thing. Yeah. But until you have India,
we're going to be old men, Ed.
No, we're going to be gone.
We'll be probably gone, but we'll be at least very old.
Yeah. Because as I was saying, India, China, Russia, those guys pollute so much that no matter what we do here, it doesn't make a difference because
we could try all
there.
day. If they're not part of the deal, then it's just, so we do have to look inwardly. I agree with you.
Okay. All right. So I think was there anything else? I mean, I'm not trying to get rid of you because we still have time.
Oh no, you can get rid of me. I'm just glad you had me on, and I
appreciate you came on.
I'm willing to answer any questions. I want to have an open dialogue with you. If we're victorious through the election, I want to come back on the show and give you updates and so forth.
We'd love that and that's what I was trying to get at. It's funny how in the beginning we we're trying to get more people on to talk about politics and nobody wanted to. Then all of a sudden people came on, and then now right before the end, everybody's like, we need to be on. It's really, we booked them out for months because everybody wanted to be on. And so, and doing these lives are a great way to get back to the people. And because what's nice about it stays on the YouTube channel, by the way, Ed Parcaut YouTube channel. And then people go there, and what we'll do for you, Chad, is just like we do for everybody else. My editor will go through and pick out all the stuff that you said that's really important, and he'll put it on the YouTube channel. Why should I vote for Chad Condit?
Well, I hope I said something important then.
You did.
I appreciate you having me on and the opportunity to talk to folks. I walk precincts every day. I go door to door for at least a couple hours a day. I go to events where we're going full steam ahead, talking to as many people as we can. And, I'm running to make a difference for the people of District 22. I really believe in that, and I think I can do it.
Great. All right. So I'm going to go through my list again.
Go
Water,
ahead.
Electrical, housing. 22. What does that encompass? That's part of Modesto and all the way down to Merced.
It's a new seat. They
Right.
pushed Heath Flora north. They pushed Adam Gray south. So it created a Stanislaus seat with a little bit of Merced. It's got most of Modesto, all of Turlock, all of Ceres, Newman, Patterson, Wesley, Grayson, Crow's Landing, Empire, Keys, goes down and takes in Snelling, Hillmar, and Gustine from Merced County. 88% Stanislaus, 12% Merced.
Okay. Because for the way you're saying, it sounded like I was farming community is what it sounded like.
It's a lot of ag.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what it sounded like.
It's it's a heavy Stanislaus. We're the breadbasket here.
Yeah.
We have to protect and watch out for our ag industry. It affects our economy. But water is not only for farmers; it's for our residents too. They need their clean, reliable water as well.
Right. And I think that's huge for our area, but we also need to do more storage.
Oh, you have to.
Right. Because and we have stuff on the
Since I
books to
was in
do
high
stuff.
school,
Right.
since I was in high school, we've doubled in population. In our water storage has only went up maybe 1%. So it's not sustainable. We're going to run out, and at some point, somebody's going to push the panic button. At some point, hopefully, we elect a great governor like Pat Brown or somebody that is going to actually do something on water. It almost seems like you need that.
No, we definitely need to do governor. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I'm not taking a shot at you. I'm just saying.
I'm not taking a shot at him either. I'm just saying
just
we need somebody who's going to focus on the people that are.
But in particular to water,
Yeah.
because water's fighting words. I'm telling you, at some point we're going to have to hit the panic button unless we do make some drastic changes.
Yeah, because we have things on the books already to make more storage or things higher, but we're not doing it because it's been stopped. And there's a lot of stuff we can do more of. I had, MID on talking about that and other people talking about different things. And we need to do more. I mean, because we didn't have a huge snowpack this last time, but we did for a while. And then the water came down, and guess what they did? They pushed it out because the fish need it, right? When technically the fish didn't really need it. But we get rid of, if we had a storage capacity, we get enough rain and snow, even in the drier years, that we could use it for other times.
But we don't have the capacity. We have to increase the capacity, and we have to all be determined to do that.
I totally agree with you, because everybody needs water. So why haven't we done it? What is the problem?
Right.
That's the question, I guess. What is the problem, Chad? Why haven't they done it?
Why haven't they done it?
Yeah.
Well, I think some extremists, mostly on the Democratic side, on the environment, called under the disguise of being environmentalists, have thrown roadblocks at it. And the Water Resource Board has not been any friends of Valley Farms, Valley residents, because everything they do seems to favor the urban areas and the population centers. And that's why, because you've had Democrats in the legislature that have tried to get it done from the Central Valley. And it also does get back. We need a governor that will put this on the radar, that will make this one of the top 2 or 3 things they do.
Some people say that they like the crisis to be able to utilize the crisis for other things.
Like, what would they be using?
That's what I'm saying. That the fact that they don't want to fix this problem, so now it's all the time. It's
some people believe that LA, the folks down in LA and San Francisco, they don't get how bad it is. Right. They just get their water, they get their food from the grocery store, and that's as far as I
lived in LA and San Diego. I can tell you don't really think about it. And I've been down there when we've been in a drought up here and we can't water, and I've seen some really green grasses down there.
Right.
I just think they don't understand where it comes from. But for us,
and that's where leadership comes in. That's where you need a leader that is going to be able to explain to them, we have to do this. We have to move off the dime on storage and water policy. And, there's a bill in the Senate that it pretty much gets rid of the Water Resource Board, makes them, defunds them.
Is that good or bad?
It might be a good thing. It might be. We need reform on it, and we need people that are going to, if we're going to have the Water Resource Board, we need a Water Resource Board member from the ag community, from the Valley, that is going to champion our causes if they're going to be that important. I happen to think the decision should be put in elected people's hands, not unelected bureaucrats.
And there you go. All right. So I'm going to ask you, why should people vote for you in District 22?
People should vote for me regardless of their party, because I will be the most effective legislator running for this seat. I have the experience, the knowledge of the district, and I'm willing to put the people above party politics. And I believe in constituent service. I know how to do this job. My resume, my background fits this job perfectly. And I think I will be an effective voice on a number of issues, whether you talk about affordability, agriculture, education, common sense, for the people of the district. I think it's a no-brainer. Nobody running has any experience in Sacramento. So I think I will be the most effective. I think that is we need an effective legislator, somebody that's going to represent us, not go up there and play the party games. Oh, I'm going to be a Republican or I'm going to be a Democrat. We need someone that's going to fight for us.
Right. And I say vote policies, not personality. So what I'm getting at is you vote for the right person. I don't care where they lie. I don't care if they call themselves a Democrat or Republican. Whoever's the best for that job is who should get it.
I believe that. That's what I do when I vote.
That's how I make sure I read everything and understand it. If I don't understand it, I ask people. And if you don't know what you're voting for, please don't check the box.
And if folks out there want to call me 209-582-1068. Call me and ask me the question. I talk to everyone, and I'm willing to spend the time and explain my position to them.
All right, Chad, say that number again.
209-582-1068. Chad Condit.
There you go. Always say it and then say it again, because it takes people to start writing it down.
Marilyn, the woman that told me to come on your show told me to put my webpage on there. It's conditforassembly.com.
Okay, we'll make sure we get that in the notes. That'll be on the YouTube and everywhere else. We'll have that put back in everywhere for you.
And Marilyn, you were right. Ed's a good guy.
I try. I just, I want people to get to understand who we have in our area.
You should have all the candidates. We should debate. We should talk. We should put ourselves out there as best we can.
I think after the primary, for the next one, we should have everybody, and we'll have who's running for each one, and they can come in and say why they're better, and we'll have a very, together, separately, and together. We'll see how it goes.
I think that's a good idea.
Chad, thank you so much for coming in there.
Thanks, man. Good show, and you're a nice man. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for that, and thank you again for your service.
You too.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. If you like what we do here, make sure you subscribe and let us know. And thanks everybody for letting Chad to know to come on.
Thanks, guys.